Hello, darling.
Gee.
Ah.
Hey, Collette. Mm, mm.
I'm seeing myself. It's so cute.
Isn't this fun? It's like this is our third public conversation.
Yeah. A lovely one with talking about Byron Katie. Your experience with Byron Katie's done really well. I haven't checked the numbers, but I know it's really popular. Yeah.
I
Lots of
saw mm,
lots of fans of Katie out there.
I saw on your YouTube. I was having fun catching up with all of Collette over the last few days, and it's on
Oh.
your YouTube that you even had a playlist for our Byron Katie. If you know that, like when you go to
Oh,
your Colette's page, YouTube, it's like, oh, there's a whole people can dive into Byron Katie through
yeah,
you.
yeah. A little one. Yeah, yeah. I just wanted
Mm,
to group together with what we spoke about. So they had somewhere
mm,
to reference, yeah, easily. It's just some ones that had resonated with me or I've found helpful and
mm,
her story. So how's
mm,
everything been? Is there, I don't know, I felt called to reach out. I have no idea why. It was just reach out to Sid. I see you a lot on the Facebook, your lovely posts, and I quite often just delve in to have a little look at what's being said there. It's a lovely space you've got. And it was
mm,
just reach out to Sid. So I was like,
mm.
oh, okay.
Oh,
And it was such a knowing. I didn't know what we were going to talk about, but it was almost as if it had already happened. It was already done. It was already. It's hard to explain,
mm.
but it was just a foregone thing that was already here, already done. I don't know if it's making sense, but
I love the way it just, I mean, as you could tell from those posts in the IFS non-dual community on Facebook of mine, right? It's just how it's the latest. Oh, I woke up with this. Let's explore this and
mm,
share this. And it just, as you know,
mm,
it's very organic as far as what's coming and what's the enthusiasm in almost like my own. Those posts generally reflect my own what's interesting and
yeah.
inside or in working with people. And
Mm.
I find like the same thing when I was watching your shorts and it just seems to be, oh, there's Collette. There's my friend Collette.
Oh, I
And
was getting something then, but it's gone. I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's disappeared. When you get so it was something to do with the unfolding. Oh, I know. So when you were talking about how you're just expressing what's happening for you, I think the brilliant thing about that is that it's your direct experience. So you're sharing that, and it's so authentic. It's not you're sharing a quote or you've got some information that you're going to share. What I noticed with a person in one of my groups, I've got these small groups that I might have told you about, and he'd had an insight and he was sharing it, and it was so delicious to hear somebody speaking from what they'd recognized. There was such a power to it. And I think that's what just sort of resonated when you said that when you wake up and what's showing up for you, you share it because it's authentic, it's real. It's not a mental idea that you're sharing.
mhm,
It's reality. It's how it's showing up. And that's how people resonate with it in a lot deeper way because it's felt, it's recognized.
I mean, what if this is it's also like our artistic expression that where it's I mean, I don't do teacher. It's for this is just all expression. It's fun. It's getting to explore with people. I just love that. And also so curious how this is opening in my system and how it's opening and expressing it and the fun of it. Like what's more
Mm.
for me, it's like so fun to write up a little couple paragraphs, and then I give it to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to create an image that reflects that, and then I go
Oh,
back and
wow.
forth playing with the art of it, and it's just, it's
Mm.
all such, there's such a joyfulness in the, for me, in the expression and the creativity of this.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, it's that unique expression, isn't it? So we're all this one self, but expressing uniquely, birthing
Right.
itself uniquely. And like you said, moment by moment, or you hinted at that, this
Mhm.
spark of divine that's just expressing.
And then it doesn't, it's just a celebration of life, right? As we
Mm.
celebrate how it's moving in us, it's no different than how it's moving in my friends who come to my groups and who I explore with. It's the I have a new favorite word. Okay, I have a new favorite word.
Okay.
Itty itty.
Itty itty.
Itty itty. It's two words, but it's like it's the other side of the netty netty process that's like
Hmm.
so common in the along the
Mm.
way of not this,
Yeah,
not that, and
emptying
like
out.
the
Yeah, yeah,
separating to the emptiness of just this, right?
yeah,
And then there's another twist on it, which they call it itty itty. And
yeah.
instead of not this, not that, it's yes, this, yes, that.
Mm. Mm.
And then it's like,
Welcoming it all.
yes, and all of it as an expression of this beauty, of
Yeah,
this innocence that we all are, of this radiance.
I get that it's just like waking up to itself. It's
Hmm.
exciting, learning about itself in all those different ways, all those different facets, all those different little tiny mirrors of itself, just lighting itself up, just expressing.
that that it's like the even like our hand, like knowing this, like our hand, and when you say waking up to itself, it's like what's the essence of what of this, and to see it and then to feel it, this essence, this beauty, this radiance, and even playing with the word bliss, right, which they say this all is.
Mm.
And there's something about playing with, because a lot of my friends, and me too, like I kind of found this through the neti neti, through finding the emptiness, finding the stillness
Mm.
and silence beneath it. But then there's a
Mm.
sense of, it's been really interesting exploring how when it pervades form, and the sense of emptiness is form,
Mm.
form is
Mm.
emptiness, like knowing that
Mm.
as the form, and then it just, then we just see, I mean, there's a lot of enthusiasm here, because it's like it's like just how much can I see the truth of what's in front of me, the absolute beauty and radiance of everyone right in there, in that,
Mm.
as this,
Mm.
and it's
Mm.
like it's that's been the that's I'll
Yeah,
stop, but
that's
it's just I
beautiful.
have a lot of
Oh, no,
enthusiasm.
don't. It's beautiful because I think sharing that helps other people to look for that. And that really is it because we're recognizing the unity. It's like when I came on and I was like, oh, I'm seeing myself. So, I can see myself. And not the Collette character, the the essence of what we are, that light and that the unity, just seeing the unity is that's where the love is. That's where we the judgment falls and the separation. And then we've got the beauty of appearing separately. So it's like that constant. I think when you were talking, I was getting that constant nothing and everything because like you said, fundamentally, there's no thing here, or you didn't say those words, you said fundamentally what we are, the emptiness and the stillness. And I'll just feel into it so I can resonate with. Okay. Here comes the bliss. Feeling into what we are, what underlies all of this, what gives birth to all of this. Um, And then being able to, I think what I got from what you were saying is that you see you're seeing that in everybody. You're sharing that you're seeing that, the felt sense of what we are
Yes.
that can't be spoken about, that you're then seeing it in
It's
everybody, in
that
everything.
that that because it's like for kind of my personality, like I got a glimpse of this when I used to teach in schools, and I would be, if I was at a kindergarten playground, right? It's like all we could see is innocence and beauty, even from the bullies, the
Mhm.
scared part, the shy one. It's just such
Yeah, it's
innocence, and
transparent, isn't it?
it's
Yeah.
just radiance, right? But the crazy thing, the parents would come and pick them up, and I wouldn't see it in the parents. It's like, oh, is it
Mm.
that the
Oh,
parents aren't beautiful? They're not of this essence? No, it's like something's blocking
it's
it instead.
just veiled and closed. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But of course, what's that's almost okay, so I can get this across. It appears veiled. It appears as veiled, but what's appearing is only ever this. So it's
Yes.
fascinating, isn't it? How this can appear as something else.
Yes. Yes. So then it's to see through that, right? Because as we know, just like you said, it's all this awareness, it's all this. And then to be
Mm,
able to see through the veils, to see the beauty radiating through, even though we might
mm.
have, I've
There's
used
going
this
to be,
IFS
yeah,
stuff that
there'll
separates
be
the
judgments, there'll be
protectiveness, the
things coming up.
practice, right?
Yeah,
But it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
protecting our own system. It's protecting the sweet vulnerability here. And as we
Mm,
see through that, or we integrate and welcome the fears and
mm,
contractions of our system, then the world starts to light up more
mm.
as this in form, in time, and be as beauty.
Delicious. Yeah. I had an interesting recognition um, that everything, that you would call the parts. So, of course, the parts are appearing in the wholeness. And what I recognize is there was always this sense of somebody, welcoming or allowing or meeting everything from neutrality or the different various things, pointers that we have, and they're all valid. But there was a recognition that, oh, it's already all allowed. All those parts are already allowed that because they're already here.
And then what about from there? Because it's like I love that. And where the edge becomes in my system is, can they not only be, wow, there's allowed, they're here,
They're
this is reality,
here.
they're here. So
Yeah.
there's this sense of this allowance. But then what about going to the enjoyment of, wow, life
Mm,
is showing up as fear right now, as planning, as control? What about the
mm,
enjoyment of what
mm,
we're calling parts or the aspects of this precious
mm.
personality?
So I think where the point of difference is when we recognize the truth of our being, that we're not the idea or the beliefs that we have about ourselves. I think the point of difference is all of whatever's appearing is this. So and it's appearing to this.
Mhm.
So you haven't got that contraction or the identification, which can be around a contraction, a thought, that can be adopted. So when you've recognized when you're clear, then everything that's arising is allowed and totally okay because who it's coming to is this.
Yes.
So then is the playfulness.
Yes. The freedom of kind of resting as
Yeah,
this
the
awareness.
freedom of what's playing because what's playing's free rather than I've got to include all of this to get to that. The
Mhm.
recognition is, oh, what was trying to include it was just more of that, more of the play, more of the idea of who I am. It was only ever this, playing that, doing all of that, walking home. So you've got the walking home and the already home, but they're both appearing in,
Oh, isn't that sweet? The
yeah,
the the already home, already home, already home. Like here we are, already home. This it's already home, and then this it's walking. Oh, I want more peace. I want more love. I want more connection.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But so the way I've seen it recently, and I've shared a few times, is Okay, let's just wait because I've got a story that got me to it, but I don't know whether I'm supposed to tell the story or not because we're getting cut off. So I'm just going to wait. So the way I'm saying it, so we could use the journeying, the already home. So this is the world of duality, yeah. The journeying and already home. We've got two appearing, but what they're appearing in is the wholeness. So if we take, it's infinite, like awareness. We have no boundary. Your awareness, it just is. It doesn't have a boundary. So your true nature is formless. So in order to talk about it, I just create a circle and we call that wholeness. So that is the truth of our being, the wholeness. And then within it is the game of duality, is the walking home and already home, appearing in the wholeness. So the wholeness isn't even in the game as anything apart from itself. So it creates all of this duality within itself. So it never becomes any of it, but it experiences itself as all of it.
Isn't it so yummy?
Yeah. So just feeling into that, because that's where the freedom is, because the wholeness is untouched by the game appearing in it, by
Mhm.
the movements appearing in it, is fundamentally unaltered because what's moving is it. What's what's playing, what's appearing, what's born is appearing within that is never touched, never altered, is totally free. We get to feel, really feel or recognize that's totally free, that's unbound, that's unaltered, that's undescribable, really. But
Gosh.
that we all are, that we all are.
That we
Amazing,
all,
isn't it?
isn't that that we all are just as
Yeah,
we are, not like, oh, 5 years from now when I go sit on the
yeah,
mountain with Ram
yeah.
Dass
We
is
all,
just
yeah,
it's but now all of us.
yeah. It's all we've ever been. I love that sentence. It's all we've ever been. It's all we've ever been. There's some sort of some sort of surrendering to ourselves. All of those movements, all of that identification, all of that grasping and pulling and contrasting, pairing, can all be surrendered to all we've ever been.
All we've ever been, right? All we've ever
Ever,
been.
ever, 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 ever been. Oh gosh, it just allows us to recognize the freedom. And then we've got the relative, we've got the things that are happening. But we've got that underlying freedom
So what
throughout the
when
relative.
this absolute knowing, it's always been this, it's already
Mm.
complete, already home.
Mm.
And then there's the relative, which I just adore more than anything, the relative experience of this, of being, I love being Sid. I love being this 58-year-old guy who's like, I got, I love my life. But it's like,
Mm.
how letting this clarity, this knowing light up the relative. And I'm giving a workshop on Tuesday, and this is. I feel very brave. I feel very brave, Colette, in that
Yeah, we've got to be brave,
I've
haven't we?
been very brave and very brave. Um,
Mm.
I've been taking this out into America likes to think about us as an us and them, not just with the world, right? When they say America first, but
Mm.
it's like inside. It's
Mm.
like, well, we've got the right and the left, and there are two different Americas,
Yeah,
and people are
yeah.
very divided with all of this. And so I have been giving workshops in can we hear the innocence and beauty beneath all political speech? Can we find our common humanity, which is another, which is just a kind of a moderating word for this that we're talking about, this beauty that we are, this in it's just very much in the real world. It's like in the divisiveness and conflict of the real world. Can we pierce through it to see what you're pointing to, what this knowing is? It's like it's that. That's the Sid being very brave.
I think we have to be brave because especially when you recognize what you are is unaltered, is total freedom. So it gives us almost the wait for the right word here because the empowerment to step into that role, to be the one that says, what about this? To sort of, you know, turn the coin over. Let's have a look. Has anybody looked over here? Are we so narrow set in our ways, can we open up to the bigger picture that we all are this one? I mean, I don't know how you're going to put it across, but we're all human. We're all on this planet. We're all sharing, we've got, even if you only look in the relative, if you only look in, if they don't know anything about spirituality, we're all human. We're all doing it. We're all trying to find our way, even when people are harming other people. You start to be able to see the innocence in all of that because,
That,
they're just lost who they are, and they're in fight or flight. They're in fear, and but there's still innocence there. There's still that innocent child that
yes,
lost its way. The politicians, yes, it's the fear, wanting power or wanting to divide. It's usually fear-based, isn't it? So we've got love and fear. Because in the world of duality, we've got that. In the relative, we're going to have extremes of everything. So say AI you brought up, there's going to be extremes. There's going to be it's absolutely brilliant and then there's, it's always going to have polarities in this world of duality. So we're going to have these divisions. But yeah, can we start to begin to see what's underlying the
right.
what's what unites us?
And this has been, for whatever reason, what kind of grabbed you and me. It grabbed us when we've got glimpses of some essence of underneathness. And,
Mm,
our lives have been a diving into that, falling in love with this, falling in love with this light,
definitely.
this
Yeah.
being, this essence, whatever we can touch of it. And yeah.
Yeah. So for me, that's the folding in. There's the projection out to the world, me and other, and then there's this turning in towards what's projecting. You turn into what's projecting. And then there was this just folding in and folding in. And like you say, it's a falling in love, but it's life falling in love with itself.
Mhm.
It's a love affair with itself. Until it can then turn and shine that, not distort the lens of projection. You can project that out into the world. What,
and
the truth of your being.
and the Sid has been more like, again, I adore Byron Katie, I and that's all she sees, right? All she sees is innocence and
Mm,
beauty in everyone. Anyone who
yes.
comes in front of her, all she has to do is look at them. She'll start crying in awe and at the beauty in that. I
Mhm.
mean, it sounds so extreme, but I think there's something very real in that. And
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
it's
she's,
it,
you know,
you know,
showing us the absolute walking. Mm.
absolute walking, right? But like for me, it's the absolute walking is every one of us. All of us are
Yes,
at this. Is
definitely.
that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, definitely. She's just a very clear lens.
Mhm.
And she went from extremes, didn't she? She went from a very contracted sense of self to complete obliteration of it and
Mhm.
rebuilding enough to be able to function. But that's her journey, her unique expression. But fundamentally, we all are that pure light, that pure essence of being radiating out. But it's just that the lenses are distorted. And last week I kept getting, we're believing everything into being. We're just
Mm.
believing everything into being. Because if we come to back to just stop in this moment prior to creating, thoughts or judgments or ideas about anything that's appearing, if we just stop, what's here?
No.
It's like there's a pause before engaging, and that's
Hmm.
fine, although, but there's this just, and then I feel like everything then is from this just stopping. There is, without language, without labels, there is nothing apart from what we are. There's not, you can see the emptiness, you can see the
Yes.
transparency. There's nothing.
So we pause. We
Yeah.
pause, and it's like, oh, there's the emptiness, the transparency, the stillness,
But
the beingness.
I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying just stop. So we're not even, we are, we just are.
We are, that's what we are. We pause and we see what we are. We know what we
We
are.
we don't even have to reflect on it. We just are it. So the pause is like a complete stop.
Uh-huh.
So we're not go to thought then about what this is. We just stop.
We stop. And
We
then what
just
happens
are.
when we push play again, and then the world all stops again? We're like we pause everything, and then we push play, and everybody starts moving. Time starts moving again. Everything we're in it, and it's just, then it's like how much for Sid? How much can I stay with that? Can I continue to see through that lens of what we just are as the world is moving, as someone comes, honks their horn at me and says, Sid, you're an idiot. Why'd you do that? It's like, can I see both the relative and playing in the relative and also what the relative is of that you speak of as we pause?
Mm, mm. Well, I think it's marinating long enough in the pause,
Mm,
relaxing the physical, and then we get to that effortlessness of just being here. We recognize that, so we're going to talk about the human experience. The human experience gets to recognize its fundamental nature when it just stops and doesn't create anything else, doesn't believe anything else into being,
mhm.
just rests as it is without commenting. And I think that's where we have enough time spent resting as what we are to then you move forward as it rather than jumping between the two
Mhm. Yeah.
because you know what you are,
Mhm.
undeniably what you are. So as you lean forward, you are it, leaning forward. You
Mhm.
are it. And so there's still going to
Good.
be things appearing. There's still going to be conditioning. There's still going to be, you know, beliefs but can we then see those points of identification? Can we see when there's a contraction? And I think if we've sat in effortless being, if we've sat in deep relaxation, we notice the squeeze. We notice that squeeze can be identified with as a me that's got all this
Mhm.
stuff. And so that's where the falling asleep happens, or when the so it's identification with the squeeze, with the push and put, with any movement appearing in what we
Yes.
are. That's where the catch is, and that's where what we're to
Yes.
see through.
I'm going to
But
say,
so the parts are appearing in what we are. The movements are appearing in what we are, and there is a potential to identify with the movements. But what's
yes,
identifying with them is the wholeness.
yes,
And it's
yes.
just recognizing that enough to play as the whole, to play knowing you're the wholeness. So you can play, you can interact, you can be beeped at.
So what about
Yeah.
that? Once we recognize that enough, that the parts, the personality, this that we can, it froze for a moment. Once we recognize this enough, the parts, the personality, the freezing, the identification, then what about it? That it shifts from it's arising in that these things, time, these experiences are arising in this to they're arising as this, like what you say, the knowing becomes so clear that there is no longer any sense of separation from beingness
Yeah,
and
because
parts
there's
and all
nothing.
that.
So what's arising is this appearing in it. So that's that wholeness again. So within the wholeness are the movements. So it's not apart from them because
Hmm.
it's creating them within itself, but it never becomes them. It never fixes itself as anything because it can't, because there's nothing apart from itself. It can't ever become anything. So you've got the being and the becoming, but what's here never actually becomes anything as a form, it only appears as a form. So that's why there's nothing apart from you. So that pause gives us a taste of that. Because if we don't create anything, everything's still here, but we haven't labeled it. So you can't find, without labeling, you can't find where you're not. Everything is this. And I
Can't
think this just
find where
becomes
you
more
can't
and
find
more
where you.
apparent.
Oh, isn't that a nice line? You can't find where you're not.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
So where does this,
And it's,
so how does this settle in Colette these days? Or how's it, I'm more like, how's it expressing? Like, what's the, like, I watched a video of yours today of you kind of walking in nature and speaking. Oh, I love your videos. I love your
oh, thank
videos.
you. Thank
They're
you.
so beautiful. They're so beautiful. They're really
Thank
so
you.
beautiful. I love them. What's what's the edge? What's the, Picasso had all these phases of his expression. Like, it was the red phase, the blue phase. It's like, what's that for Colette right now with this? What's the exciting edge of expression? Where's it going? Where's it
Mm.
opening to? And I love your website. I love the one-on-ones you're doing and the groups that you're leading. What's the enthusiasm with all of this now?
Well, I think on a call with my little groups, on one of the calls, I just had a really deep recognition that we are the silence. Um, it was a funny call, and I might edit it and put it up as a video because I want to edit out the people that were in it because it's a private small group. But so I was leading the group into stillness or silence, and I just actually it began with this is where the stop came from. I just said straight away on the meeting, what if we all just stop? I mean, that's it. If we all
Mm.
just stop, everything we've ever been looking for is right there. That pregnant pause, the in between my words, just that is what we are and is what we've been looking for. So then there was a little
What's
bit
Colette's
deep
teaching? Stop.
stop. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is going to be my new catchphrase. Just stop. Um, and then a little bit later on in the session, I was like, oh my goodness. We have this sort of sense that we're going to stillness or we're going to silence or we're going to being or we're going, and that gets less and less the clearer we get. And obviously, just point out we all are clear. It's just the human experience is one of journeying, although what's journeying is totally clear. So everybody is clear. But but we have this experience of going to of maturing. And I just saw her on the call. I was like, oh my goodness, I am silence. I couldn't find, again, where I'm not. I was just silence. And I was feeling into the bones in my back. And I could see that that was silence. It was so funny on the call. I
Oh.
was like, oh my goodness, guys. Um, it was just so then I've just created a Sunday call where I lead people into silence. I did my first one on Sunday, where I lead people into silence. Um, and then we just sit in silence and then I lead them out in a way, well, not out, but guide them to just come back to the relative. And what I recognized was that it's effortless once you recognize your silence, because before I never meditated and I just didn't really, I don't know, I just didn't. resonate for me to meditate. I had a few experiences and thought, oh, that's going to be sidetracking me. Went off to space and did all sorts of things, lights, and I just thought, no, that's not for me. Um, but when you recognize you're the silence, it's effortless just to sit in silence. Whereas before it was always this sense that you've got to go to silence, and so even in the silence, there's going to be thoughts, but they're not engaged with. So you're still the silence, no matter if there are thoughts, you're the silence. And it's effortless to sit in silence. And when I first saw the truth of my being, I somebody said to me, "Oh, would you think you could help me with this group?" And I was like, "Oh no, I don't know what I'm gonna. I don't. The only thing I think I could ever do was just sit in silence." And I said, "But I can't, that's going to be a bit weird sitting in silence." And here I am, 3.5 years later, and I'm like, "Wow, it's effortless to sit in silence because we are the silence. It's what we are."
The-
But I guess it just has to be realized, just like the recognition of the truth of your being, the deepening for the human experience is this unfoldment, is this recognizing that we are silence. And also I also recognize effortless being because what we have is we have everything as concepts until we directly experience them. And so David Bingham, and that's the person I went to
I know,
recognize the truth of
yes.
my being fully. And he has a book, Effortless Being, and I've read it, talked about it. But until you recognize effortless being, because we have a theory, we have a concept about what it is. And I was sat there and I was like, oh, this is effortless being. So it was like I could feel all my muscles were just effortless. There was no effort to sit upright. It was completely effortless. And I had a snip of that before when I once came out of yoga. I was lying in corpse pose, which is what you do at the end of a yoga session. And I got up and I just noticed I was gliding across the room. And I was like, so legs are moving, but there's this sense of just gliding. What is that? And it just wore off. And I was like, oh, that was strange. But I recognized it when I sat there and I was realizing the stillness. And I was like, oh, effortless being. Oh, I recognized I was sat upright. And normally your back might start to ache, some certain muscles in the body, you tend to give you a bit of jip. And I was just recognizing how effortless it was to just be
Mhm.
in a profound way that I'd never noticed before. So I think there's so much for us to discover, and I think that's where I'm going. That's where I'm
So
going.
much to
That's it. I got my way
discover
around
in sinking
in the
into this
relative.
effort, in this effortless being in
But
time, living it.
yeah, for the human experience. So I got this massive picture came to me. This story, another story, but it adds in. I got this. I got everything seen in a split second, and then it fell. But what the words I got was suprahuman. And we're here to have a suprahuman experience. So all these things come on board, all these recognitions, all these talents that that just lay dormant are all to come on board. That's what I'm getting. I mean, I just saw it in a flash, but it's the realization of it. And I feel it's a deep relaxation of the body because that week I was just relaxing, relaxing. So I recognized the contraction is identification, it is easily identified with. Any subtle
Mm.
framing, any subtle contraction is easily identified as limitation, is a limited eye rather than the universal eye. So I just kept relaxing, just kept relaxing and relaxing. And that's what came from it. And I'm just getting, our energetic system is so fired up. That's in fear, that's reactive. It's defending itself. And once we can relax that, all these things are going to come on board for us. I don't know whether that's something you've seen or people have
Well,
expressed to you.
I have a couple of questions. Um, First, I love the description of the yoga class and the effortless being. Oh, wow, I don't have to, this isn't hard work. It's just here,
Floating.
effortless in the sense that when it is effortful, that requires a contraction or an identification. what I was hearing. And then I'm curious about your word, and then something, then it opens the space for, you called this the suprahuman, or other abilities to come online. I'm curious about what you've touched or glimpsed of that.
Um, I think more intuition. So like just knowing to reach out to you, knowing it was the right time. I didn't need any information about what we're going to talk about. And I said we don't have to do it for YouTube. I just knew it was important to reach out to you. So it's that type of thing. It doesn't come with anything else other than that's that's what's happening. That's what you're going to do.
Mm.
Um, and I recently had a really nice conversation with a lady who was one of those psychic phone uh, people. You ring up,
Mhm.
and it was so interesting because there was a lot going on between us, and I was saying things. She's saying, "Well, I'm just thinking that." So I said twice in the interview two things that she was thinking, and she said, "Well, you're just being psychic," and I'm like, "Am I?" So I think that sort of thing comes on board, and I've noticed it with my husband as well. He'll say, "Well, I was just thinking that." Well, I was just thinking that, and I'm like, "This is happening more and more that I say something. I was just thinking that." At the same time. So I'm not hearing people's words. I'm just verbalizing what they're thinking. And I'm not thinking it. It's just coming out my mouth. So yeah, so I think this is normal for us. All of this. I mean, what we're getting here, there's a recognition and there's a spaciousness that opens up and there's this to and fro that happens. I had another lovely conversation with somebody. I haven't got the interview on my channel, but it's so beautiful. And we were just dancing. I could see it was such a beautiful backwards and forwards dance. He had amazing ways of expressing things. And and he was firing. There's a firing up. There's a reflection bouncing off each other, or like you're playing ping pong. It's so harmonious, and so you just see the unity
Mm.
there, and how you've got the uniqueness. So the expressions are different, but you're also seeing the unity at the same time because it's
Mhm.
the one thing dancing. So you recognize the dancing, but the expressions are bouncing off each other. It's quite interesting.
I am just the possibility of what you're describing as ordinary, as we open up more and more to this, the connectedness, the beingness that we all share, and
Yeah.
then possibility of, oh wow, there's a sense of a knowing here, or a hearing, and just the
Yeah.
possibility that could be normal, what you're describing with your husband.
Yeah. And that there's this, it's like listening to the silence because I mean, I don't have all the pieces yet, but there's something in the silence, in the listening. There's a lot
Mm.
going on. It's alive.
Oh my gosh.
So used to just moving up, filling the moment, moving on. But there's an aliveness when we just stop, the pure potential.
Mm. And that's been here, the exploration of that silence, and then the aliveness in that, as we
Mm.
experience it in form, and experience it on my hand, as because they so many of them in the ancients talking to the bliss, the nature of this is bliss, and like the idea of getting to enjoy this, to enjoy the very essence of what we are, and to invite people into that, the enjoyment of this aliveness, this humanness, this beingness embodied.
Yeah, because that's the only way the wholeness gets to experience itself through form. That's how
Mm.
it ex because there's nothing apart from it. When we go to just stop until we create, there's nothing apart from us.
Mhm.
So in order for that to experience itself, like you say, it creates all these forms of the words, the sound, music, the It's then creating all of this to express itself, to feel it, to fall in love with itself, to
Yes.
interact with itself.
So
Yeah.
like how deeply it's like here, just how deeply can I fall in love with its expressions, the
Mm.
music, the form, the even the conflict and difficulties in the world, like just in how intimate can I be with all of that, or even an
Mm.
intimacy beyond intimacy with that.
Yeah, yeah. Because we are in, what about if we are intimacy?
Hmm.
That we are it.
Yeah. And
It's in your bones.
then
It's in my
all of
bones.
life gets to be in that intimacy, just like as you were saying with like parts or what arises inside Colette, it's already here. There
Yeah.
is no need to welcome it. It already is. It already is this.
Already, because that's the effortlessness. It's already here. Yet what we've done is we've gone, okay, so I've got to include, oh, I've done it. Got to include, and there's nothing wrong with that journey because that's the waking up journey. So we don't go, oh, I shouldn't have done that. No, that was just part of it. That's how life wanted to experience itself. It was perfect.
That
But there's the
perfection.
deeper recognition that it's all here already. Oh,
So in that already here in the perfection of it, and our friend Katie calls it loving what is. It's what is, and it's insane to say what is wrong or it should be different. It's what is,
yeah.
but it's like the intimacy with what arises in us, in kind of the intimacy with that. Then when it becomes or opening up, or kind of what the game is here is opening up to similar intimacy with what we're calling the world and others. It's just this love of it just as it is,
Mm.
and this intimacy or being intimacy or intimacy beyond intimacy with the expression of
No,
this
because it's
as
not
form
somebody
and
being intimate, is it? It's not somebody being intimate. It is just intimacy. Yeah. That's where the deepening is, where we sort of plunge into everything
oh
because we are everything.
gosh. Every time I read it, I cry. Thich Nhat Hanh's poem, Call Me by My True Names, which is just a celebration of what you just said. True names, everyone, everything,
Mm-mm.
true names.
Yeah. I think we're sort of, so it's the forms are so tangible. That's why our attention is going towards the forms all the time. But it's now recognizing the formlessness
Yes.
of the forms
Yes.
so they can both dance together.
Right.
That it's being experienced through form.
Yes. But without needing to stop at the formlessness. I mean, that's where I had stopped. A lot of my friends stopped there. And it's like the sense of finding that, what we find in
Yeah, that's
formlessness in
it's good for
form.
a time. It's good for a time. I think we need to stop at the formlessness for a time. I did. You empty everything out, like you're saying, and then you notice the no thing. When I say stop, not creating, nothing else here unless I label it. So that's our formless nature. And then it's like, okay, but hang on a minute, there is a form. Okay, so there's a form. Awareness is formless, but yet awareness is experiencing itself through form. So then you dive back in to the play. I'm not making light of what's here. What I mean by play is the playfulness of it, the like kids at a tea party. We think it's real and it's very serious, but actually underlying it's only the one thing. And yes, there is birth and death, but the one thing never is born and never dies. So we get to experience it all without the fear. I think that's what it is. It's without the fear. More radiating in unity and love, without the contractions, without the push and pull. And all of that is okay because it's the journey. It's the experience that life wants to have. Because that's how it knows itself through contrast. Else it wouldn't know itself. It's got nothing opposite. It's got nothing to. So the contrasts wake us up. Like Katie had the biggest waking up through contrast, through
Mm.
the pain and suffering to the point she couldn't cope with it anymore and it fell away, revealed the absolute. So, but not everybody has to have that extreme experience.
Right. And it's
So
scary, right? It's
when anything comes up, it's a chance to see that wholeness. So, you would perhaps say it's a part. Okay, so a part is showing us, is pointing us back home to our wholeness. So it's great. It's not something that we've got to get rid of. It's like it's already included, but it's okay. What wants to be seen? What parts want to be seen? Just seen. Because life wants to
Mhm.
learn about itself.
Wow.
So if it wants to see its anger at something, okay, so that's interesting. Anger was appearing. So what's the opposite of anger? You know, the bliss.
Mm.
So then it gets to see its opposites. It gets to, but at the same time, there's a point where we recognize that what we are is also not even, never ever leaves what it is. All of these are just appearances appearing within it. So they're here for it to experience itself, to learn about itself. They're not negatives. I think we quite often see them as negatives. We've
Mhm.
got to get rid of them. We don't want them. Why is this here again? And it's here to be seen, so it can know itself in all its forms, but also point itself back to the formlessness. So we've got the dance of both.
That, what you're saying. Yes. Love it.
So it's the diving back in, which I think you really express really well. The diving back in, the enjoying life, the relishing it.
We want to miss a minute of this. Yes.
Mm.
And then how intimate can we be with it all?
Mm. Because there's no separation.
Mm.
Makes me laugh. Because we believed in separation. We believed into being. We
Mm.
believed ourselves into being. We believed ourselves into being separate. And it was the wholeness believing itself into separation. It was only ever the wholeness. There's never, ever any separation. It appears as separation, but there's never any separation. So it was only the wholeness appearing as separate. So the intimacy is we're never, ever anything other than what's here. There's no separation. So it's funny, isn't it? Because it can be empty or it can be full. And I think you really dive into the fullness.
But
But they're both there,
same. Empty, full,
dancing.
same,
Yeah,
same.
they're
Right,
the
same,
same,
same.
aren't they?
Yes.
Somebody said one taste at one of my calls, and it's that. It's one taste, but appearing
Yes.
differently.
Or no
Yeah.
taste, or one taste.
Yeah. Yeah. So funny, isn't it?
I've become buddies with someone of your lineage, your lineage of with David Bingham as kind of like
Oh, yes.
he was where it sounds like the
The
opening, the shift
catalyst.
happened
Yeah,
initially,
it's
the
a catalyst for
catalyst.
people. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Rob Rug has become a
Oh,
buddy of
yeah.
mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Oh, he's full of life.
he's so fun.
Yeah.
We call each other's permission slip. It's like because when we get like
Oh,
the
yeah.
permission
He's
slip
good at
just
that,
to
though.
play
He is
and
really good at that because I did do an interview with him and he does give permission for people to. I saw that quality in him, that he allows people to be who they are.
and so we're playing with all of this and we're even and so one expression that might come through us because we both like having a lot of fun and he's already doing this. He's going on some kind of spiritual cruises where he speaks and does his work. And so we're talking about like inviting 10 of our friends who like facilitating these things and start having cruises like that where it's kind of a whatever just to explore on this for a week at sea. And if we do one of these and you're part of the planet, it would be such a joy to invite you to be one
See you
of
in
the
person.
presenters.
Oh, wow, lovely. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
It can be fun, just for the fun. This is it's just how does this express when it just gets to be more lighter? Hey, we're going on a cruise together. We're going to be dancing at night.
Yeah, yeah. Just yeah, the playfulness.
Yeah, the playfulness.
Just giving ourselves permission to be fully who we are without the constrictions of who we believe ourselves should be and
Right.
shouldn't be.
And it doesn't look like we had this idea, like you said, you didn't meditate. Meditation was not part of your practice, your journey. But now what I hear is that there is no doing meditation. Meditation is what you're being.
Yeah.
And I'm intrigued by how this journey of opening and deepening in this can be kind of more lighter and more playful than, I did it the hard way. I did the Zen meditation retreats, and gosh, did I do it the hard way. And so I'm interested in the lighter,
And
supporting my
you know,
friends in a
that's
lighter
not
way.
wrong, is it though? That's not wrong because that's how life wanted to journey. So it's not
Mm,
wrong. Yeah. But yeah, I think there's something to be said for that we don't have to be this being, spiritual or our formless nature, fundamental nature. We don't then have to adopt a role of being spiritual. Or that's not very spiritual, or because life just wants to express itself. We're not all going to suddenly, that's fine. Some people are very Zen all day. That's just their nature. That's just their expression. And that's beautiful. But then you've got other people who are party guys. You love music and dancing and expressing that way. You know, yeah, it's just it's yeah, it's like a freedom slip, like you're saying, to be who you are. It's like when you were saying, oh, about your being brave. It's like, yeah, yeah, because if we look at what our fundamental nature is, it's unlimited. It's untouched by whatever
yeah,
happens.
right, right.
Because we can always recognize that in ourselves. So yes, the human experience is to step forward and own that and be brave and express uniquely. And I think but it's all been, suppressed. It's all, and I think a lot of people have had spiritual experiences, but they've not shared them. And I think now more people are talking about it and they'll recognize it and it can appear. However, it's just somebody smiling at somebody else. That is it. That is the magic. Lighting somebody else up with a smile. Yeah. Doesn't have to be any particular way because life just wants to experience itself in all these forms, in all these different
All
ways.
of this, all of it,
All,
right?
yeah, it's all included. It's like one
Oh
big
my gosh.
yes.
I've been, I've been playing with something. Somebody was writing about to one of my posts. They wrote about the in the Hindu path, the four yogas towards self-realization of like bhakti and sacred service and jnani inquiry and it was like and there was this clarity of well those are of course what's doing that are parts that are wanting something, right? Because there's just resting is what we are, and there's no movement from that. But then these aspects of our personality that wanting more peace, love, union, and then there was a sense of then I think of people who represent like selfless service and devotion to me. And I have some ideas. Oh, the Dalai Lama, he's just this and others that maybe David Bingham, whoever are people who inspired us, Katie. But then something so beautiful. I'm just starting to really glimpse this that the bhakti is the person at the football game drinking beer and eating a hot dog, and compared with the monk at the temple who's devoted his life to it's and at one level it's the same devotion, it's the same selfless service sounds I don't have this fully
No,
yet
I
but
know
it,
it
it
because there's an underlying thread. They all are source. It's just you don't know that guy
yes.
who's drinking beer and having a burger has not just put his arm around some kid who or giving a kid a lift to football because he couldn't make it, or you don't know how it's being
We
expressed.
don't, but even further than that, Colette, even
Yeah.
the guy that's drinking the beer and eating the burger and he's just yelling at people at the game.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
He's being mean. He's picking fights with people, right? But in a way, it's the same life as the
Oh, yeah.
monk, as
Oh,
the
definitely.
as
Yeah.
the as the person helping the homeless folks.
Yeah.
It's the same service to the being. It's the same service to like whatever
Yeah.
has this
It's
person
life. Yeah.
throw his
Experiencing
beer in
itself.
somebody's face. Same. It's the
Throw his
same
bottle
love
over his
of
shoulder.
it's the same love
Yeah.
of life. It's the
It's life.
same.
Yeah. Life expressing itself
Yeah.
uniquely. Yeah. So it'd only be if we judge one better than the other. And that's because we're in the dualistic world and we have a mind that can divide. So, but we can also see when we don't use that dualistic and we just go to the heart, the unity of everything. That there is no division between those two. They're just both beautiful expressions of the one thing. Yeah.
As beautiful
So I think it's getting
expressions of
used to the
this.
heart intelligence. That's something that's worth pointing out. Getting used to having our, dropping into the heart space is so valuable because it opens us up to to the unity that we all are. Whereas if we're in our head, that's where the
Yes.
division is. Yeah.
The unity of it all, then we just love all the expressions of
Well, you
this.
just see, like you're saying, so you go into that thing where people are divided and you're showing them the unity there. It's
I'm
you know,
I'm trying, but it's also it touches. There's a reason, right, that we separate. The reason that we do and us and them, right? Because we've been hurt, we've been wounded, we've had, things have happened to us, bad things have happened. We don't
and you
trust, and all
understand.
those things, right? That we can still carry. That can be the filters that
Yeah,
have us find they have us take care of ourselves by protecting ourselves and separating, and all of that's beautiful, right? I'm not wanting to It's all beauty in the way this humanness seems to work in that way, but it's like
it is, but
it's
it's
it can
limited.
it's limited, but that's where I use the word brave, because it's a little scary when we kind of invite someone to see the us in the us, the inclusive us, when they're theming, because there's a reason they're theming, and we're not wanting to make them wrong. But sometimes when we point to those
We don't
things
need
to
to.
an no, we don't want to, right? Why would we do that? There's just
We
in
don't
the
need to
beauty of
make
this.
them. Yeah, we don't need to
But
fix them.
when
But
you and I talk of this, when we speak of the unity, the beauty of it all, the beauty of whoever we really don't like when we turn on the news, and that really, like, oh my God, they're, whoever that is, that there's a reason we do that. And it's tricky, right? The absolute and the relative, as far as the way we separate ourselves and protect ourselves, and how to speak of this without the sense of making someone wrong or having them feel like we're attacking their defenses or the way they protect themselves or the way they identify. It's tricky,
mm,
where it says, because to me, like, my groups are a celebration. I want them to feel like a birthday party for everyone who comes, like celebrating everything about them. And so
mm,
I'm trying to do the both, right? The celebration of everything, and then, yes, inviting the possibility of more connectedness, more love. I'm not sure, but it's going to
I think
be, yeah,
if you speak from, sorry, I'm going to cut you off. If you deliver from the heart, I think that's it. Because the heart is not wanting is based in unity. It doesn't need anybody to be any other way.
yeah,
But it's going to be received because you're not seeing them as divided, you're seeing them as united, as unity. So when we speak from this, just getting used to speaking from the heart, from so I came across this thing called receptive presence, I called it. It's recognizing the truth of our being, this openness, and then leaning in from the openness. And it's like you're open to receive, a little bit like if you sat down and you just put your face up to the sun and it touched your face. You're open to receive. So
mm,
so you're this openness, but you're also leaning into life and you're meeting life from this and your heart's open. So when you speak from there and when you don't need anybody to be different. And in not needing people to be different, they soften
Mm.
anyway.
They can feel that.
And you've got compassion. If they are, you're very, vocal about what they are expressing, you don't mind them doing that because that's okay. If we all learnt that, we'd be okay with everybody having different opinions because that's okay. And then
Mm.
when somebody's heard, they then settle down and go, well, what do you think? Whereas if you're trying to shut them down, then they're getting higher and higher on their horse, saying, no, 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 no. But if you go, yeah,
Mm.
okay, that's interesting. That's how you feel? Yeah. So they're not wrong because it's their point of view from where they're looking.
Mm.
So
Mm.
everybody's point of view is valid. Nobody's point of view is wrong. It's where they're looking
That,
from.
that it's gonna be, I have an hour and 40 minutes with 60 people tomorrow night, and a lot of them are heartbroken and upset and angry. And
Mm.
on the relative
So are you
level,
going to
I'm a
do
little
some?
scared about it. I'm a little scared about putting
So
myself
how
in
are
the middle
you
of it.
opening the meeting? So I would get everybody in unity, speak to them from unity, talk to them, don't get
Mhm.
everybody quiet to begin with. Set the scene, talk about unity, open
Mhm.
your heart, lean in, see them all as one, and then talk from there. And then invite people in. And then you're open to receive. They want to be heard. Yes, I understand. And then somebody else can speak. But if we all come in from our closed separation, it's like it's like a fight, isn't it?
Yeah,
So quite often on my
absolutely.
group, sometimes I open a group and say, and let them say, "Oh, this week it was terrible," da, da, da," because that's what they want to do. But quite often, I set the scene. I point everybody to their true nature, and then they go, "Oh, there was all this stuff about this week, but I can't actually find it now."
Mm.
So it's not that we're avoiding it because you can say, "Okay, yeah, what
Mm.
what was it then? What was that you didn't like? What was showing up for you?"
Mm.
But you sing it from unity. So you're not so closed with your thoughts. You're like, oh yeah, I can see what I was doing now. I was just really
Mm.
angry. I needed somebody to be different. Yeah, I can see now. Yeah. So we're not avoiding those parts are appearing. But if we look at the from unity, we've got a chance to include them to see that they're okay. So that's what I would do, set the scene first. And then keep
Thank you.
bringing it to unity and remaining. It's a
Mm.
good test for you to remain in your heart center. Just be
And
open and
it is, yes. And it's interesting. Like I can't even use words like that in that this is a very mainstream audience. And so it's interesting to
yeah, so yeah,
translate this
temper your
all. Yeah.
yeah. But if you're in
Mm.
your heart, you'll speak your truth, it'll come out.
Thank you.
I just it will.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Let
the
me
words
let me ask
will
you
find.
this. Mm. Ask you this, Colette. There was let's call Sid. Let's talk with Sid. Let's talk with my friend Sid. Is there anything as we are in this unity, this connectedness, this play together, is there anything that would be like useful, fun for us to talk about that might have been part of that movement towards a conversation?
I think we've already covered it. The dance that we've done, whether it's because it's the effortlessness. So with your group, it's how effortless can you be? Can you allow the field? There's this field of being as the human experience. There's a contracted sense of self, and it's a self-looping me that's caught up in its thoughts and ideas, or there's this open, receptive presence that's like a unified field of experience. So can you allow the field to do the work?
Mhm.
Can you relax and allow life to speak through you?
Like the yoga class.
Yeah. They're just life to move the body. Just how effortless can you, just keep Keep coming back to effortlessness.
Mm.
How relaxed, how open, how receptive and present can you be?
Gosh.
And it's like I can feel that. It's like I'm really bang in my heart center. And then when you speak from there, even the resonance drops and
Mm.
it's heard, people hear you when because you're speaking from the truth of your being. All our ways of, there's no fear being picked up of how am I going to manage this? How am I going to do? That's just the field. The field will do the work. And that's what I'm pointing to, that superhuman, where it gets more and more effortless. It's because what we are can rise up as something, but it's allowing that to surrender to itself and then allow it to move as that instead of this constant sort of limitation that we keep framing ourselves as. How unlimited, how effortless can we be? And you'll sort of bring that to the meeting. So I see it as tuning forks, always have. And so if you're tuned to effortless being,
Mhm.
the felt sense of just deep relaxation. Every time you get, oh, a thought, well, what about the back down? Oh, back down. Every time a thought's offered up, how am I going to manage this? Back down to me. And it's not, and then you can just speak from being. So it's this deep relaxation, and then life just moves through as unlimited because we have a tendency to get in our own way and make life difficult through thoughts. Through identifying with the thoughts. How am I going to do this? I'm not sure I'm going to be. They're all just invitation to experience, but you don't have to pick them up. You can just return to wholeness again. Return to see how effortless can I be?
Mm.
How totally relaxed can I be? Even if your heart's going boom, 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 boom. Can just keep relaxing the physical body and allow life just to speak through you. It's beautiful. That's the
Really
unique
helpful.
experience.
That was really helpful. Thank you, because this is in my expression. This is really pushing the edge in
Yeah,
what I'm doing. And thank you for that reminder and that focus.
down. Just dropping down, out of the head, down, down, down into the heart center. You can
Mm.
feel into the chair, your body in the
Um,
chair. Ground yourself.
I I get to go to have a lunch to head to soon, and
Mm.
I wanted to ask you a couple professional questions after our conversation. I'm wondering if we could bring the public side of this to a close.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah. This is lovely.
Okay.
Thank you, Sid.